have the strength to sweep aside this world and build it anew.
I must!
Welcome, Exile. If you have chosen to take this dark Path of Exile with me, or just have been curious about Path of Exile 2, the upcoming action RPG from Grinding Gear Games, then you've come to the right place. In this video, I'm going to give you a beginner's guide to understanding the basics of Path of Exile 2. So, just like me, you can dive into the game with confidence. Whether you're a seasoned veteran or a brand new player, there's plenty to explore in the world of Wraeclast. So without further ado, let's get started. Path of Exile 2 is a sequel to the beloved Path of Exile, an action RPG known for its deep character customization, challenging gameplay and rich story. The game takes place in a dark fantasy world filled with danger, magic and treacherous enemies. While the original game had a focus on endgame content and intricate systems, Path of Exile 2 expands upon these features, offering a fresh campaign, new mechanics and an improved engine to enhance the experience. With that said, you don't have to have played the first game in order to get into the second game. I played the first Path of Exile for only a few hours, and that game was not beginner friendly and still is not beginner friendly like at all. The game is very complex and tells the story in a very difficult way for the average beginner player to understand. Path of Exile 2 has simplified this massively, making the storyline a little bit easier to follow and understand for the average player, while still keeping the depth and complexity of the endgame that the first game offered. So if you're just like me and want to get into PoE 2 without the need of playing the first game, then by all means, let's jump in together. In Path of Exile 2, players step into the shoes of an exile, a character cast away to a mysterious land where only the strong survive. The game's story unfolds in a world ravaged by corruption where the ancient gods, powerful enemies and twisted magic dominate. The narrative offers both a fresh start and a continuation to the first game, letting you explore new areas and engage in a gripping tale of survival and vengeance. This game will 100% satisfy any ARPG dark fantasy that you have. At the heart of Path of Exile 2 is its character customization. The game introduces 6 new classes, with a total of 12 classes come launch next year, each with unique abilities and playstyles. Whether you prefer to wield a giant hammer with the warrior, summon the dead with the witch, land some trickshot bowshots with the ranger, or cast devastating spells with the sorceress, there is a class for you. But the real magic comes from the game's passive skill tree, a sprawling network that lets you customize your character's stats and abilities in nearly endless ways. You also have access to new skills, unique ascendancy classes which further diversify your particular class, and an expanding range of gear to fine-tune your build. The campaign in Path of Exile 2 is built to challenge both newcomers and veterans alike. With a new story comes new combat dynamics such as the newly added Dojuro, which shows that Path of Exile 2 does not shy away from reinventing the wheel when it comes to how ARPGs are looked at. The game also features 50 bosses come its early access release on Friday, as well as 400 enemy types, with these numbers being doubled next year when the game fully launches, giving you even more opportunities to test your skill and strategy. Expect intense action-packed battles where quick reflexes and precise planning will be your best weapons, whether you're slashing through enemies, summoning the dead or casting powerful spells. Combat in Path of Exile 2 feels fast, fluid and very satisfying. One of the key features in Path of Exile 2 is the skill gem system. This allows you to take skills and link them to your gear, giving you the power to shape your abilities. There are thousands of possible combinations, enabling you to create unique character builds based on your playstyle. Want to cast fireballs whilst holding a bow and still poisoning everything? Or perhaps create an army of the dead whilst holding a giant hammer? The choice is yours. Like its predecessor, Path of Exile 2 supports online multiplayer, allowing you to team up with friends or other players to tackle the game's toughest challenges. Whether you prefer cooperative play or trading your loot with others, the multiplayer systems adds a dynamic layer to the game. And for the truly hardcore players like me, the endgame in Path of Exile 2 is just as deep and as complex as ever, offering an infinite endgame with challenging bosses, randomized dungeons, and a vast array of endgame content that will keep you coming back for more. Getting started in Path of Exile 2 is straightforward, but there is still a lot to keep in mind. So if you're unsure on where to start, consider playing through the campaign first, which introduces you to the core mechanics and the lore. As a beginner, focus on exploring the world, learning the combat mechanics, and experimenting with different character builds. Don't be too afraid to make mistakes, just go in blind as long as you're having fun. Now, if you're the type of person to follow build guides while playing the game, then please by all means do so. But for people like me, for example, and from my experience, I played Path of Exile 1 whilst trying to follow a build guide, and I found myself spending more time on the internet than I did actually playing the game, and that took out a lot of fun out of it. So I don't want you to experience that. Path of Exile 2 is here to stay. We're in it for the long run, so don't be afraid to make mistakes. Don't be afraid to start again, right? There is so much depth to this game. You have more than enough time to learn from what mistakes you make. To recap, Path of Exile 2 is shaping up to be an incredible sequel, offering deeper gameplay, new classes, and an ever-expansive world to explore. Many people are calling Path of Exile 2 the greatest ARPG of all time, and honestly, I would tend to agree with them because I don't see all that much competition. This game looks incredible. So whether you're a new player or returning Exile, there's something for everyone in this game. So what are you waiting for, Exile? Dive in and start your journey with me today. I want to learn this game with you guys. I want to make mistakes with you guys. Get to the end game with you guys. You guys should see my build journey, which character I will build up, which class I will pick. I'm in this for the long haul, and I plan to stay here for as long as Path of Exile 2 exists. Keep in mind, this is just an overly summarized video to the introduction of Path of Exile 2. I do plan to make a little more in-depth videos on the mechanics of the game and everything you need to know about Path of Exile 2. So if you're a veteran player new to my channel, please do consider subscribing. I would need your guidance as well, as I am learning this game as I go. And for anyone new to the game, join this journey with me and let's see how far we can go in the world of Path of Exile 2. I would consider myself an intermediate level player on the level of knowledge that I have on this game, and I plan to take this to pro level as I tend to cook the end game in Path of Exile 2. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch my video. If you made this far, please do consider liking the video and gently hitting that subscribe button, especially if you love Path of Exile 2. I will leave you guys some really hype gameplay just to give you an idea of what the game sounds like, what the game looks like, if you are completely new to this genre of games. Thank you so much, Exiles, and stay sane. GG.